Said we felt we lived in a safe community. We still do. Yeah. Why are y'all saying words and then taking them back? That's what's confusing me. Like you're throwing a sentence. We thought we lived in a safe community. We actually do live in a safe community. I can't dispute that. But still, we feel we still do, but still we feel unsafe. So that's a little weird. Um, Even after someone has entered the house, his house and killed his daughter, John Ramsey can say they still live in a safe community. That does not make sense. I agree. After a tragedy like this, you may not feel like your neighborhood has gone to hell, but you definitely would not feel safe. No, you wouldn't. I don't care who you are. You would not feel safe. And we know that they sent Burke down to Atlanta by himself. And then they got a house down in Atlanta and the alarm was dismantled during remodeling. For some people who have had their daughter kidnapped and murdered, y'all sure don't take safety seriously. And that's weird to me. After a tragedy like this, you may not feel like your neighborhood is going to hell, but you definitely don't feel safe. However, if you know who killed your daughter and you know that person will not kill again, then you could say that you still live in a safe community. John, the questioner says, John, would you recommend the death penalty for the person convicted of killing JonBenet? I would absolutely want the most severe penalty bought. Patsy nods silently with tears in her eyes. John gives the strong answer. However, she doesn't give an answer at all. Tells us what he wants: death penalty for the person convicted of killing JonBenet. Why didn't he just say yes or no, or yes or absolutely want the death penalty? Possible John Ramsey does not believe in capital punishment, of course. He is now faced with the dilemma with the murder of his daughter. Personal convictions would not allow him to ask for the death penalty. Public opinion would not allow him to say that he does not want the death penalty. So he doesn't give a specific. And I said that from the beginning. John is very good at giving you vague answers that are in the middle. Another possible reason why he didn't give an answer to the question is because he knows who the killer is and doesn't want the person to be put to death. Ramsey, or remember when, well, I guess I was just going to say, if we're talking about Burke, Ramsey, um, you have Burke in your mind outlined as what I can't say that I want this to happen to my son. And even if I'm talking about myself, I can't say I want this to happen to myself. But if somebody asks you, what do you think should happen to this person? And John, who is holding it together, is able to definitively speak and say, this is what I think. But you look over at Patsy and Patsy is like, I can't even think about that right now. What kind of state of mind is she in to be feeling that way? Another possible reason why he didn't answer is because he knows who the killer is. Remember, when people don't answer specific questions, they are withholding information. We get the same impression from Patsy Ramsey, who answered the question by nodding her head. Uh, why doesn't she vocally proclaim she wants the death penalty for the person who killed her child? Um, I don't say that she has to vocally proclaim it. You know, So there are a lot of assumptions that Mr. McClish is and he's comfortable making. Um, but I'm not saying Patsy necessarily has to do that. So March 17th of 2000, John and Patsy interviewed by Barbara Walters. You guys have seen that. I've covered that. Barbara's a bulldog. Barbara ain't gonna hold nothing back. She certainly didn't with the Menendez brothers, and she certainly didn't with with John and Patsy. On the ABC show 2020 on Friday, interview coincided with the release of their book, The Death of Innocence. In the interview, Patsy Ramsey said the following: "The Boulder police would like this to go away." What? They would like to just close the books on it, pretend that no one is there, none of it has ever happened. But we're not going away. We're going to be their worst night. Okay. Patsy, their worst nightmare. Patsy and John Ramsey are hanging in there. Until the day we die, we'll be looking for the person that murdered our daughter. I know where you're going. In May 1 of 1997, John Ramsey stated that we're going to be looking for the killer until the day we die. That's going to be our sole mission for the rest of my life. 3 years later, Patsy affirms that the killer will never be found during their lifetime. Well, she didn't really say that. She just said we're going to be looking until we die. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make it my life's mission until I die. Until the day we die, we'll be looking for that person who murdered our daughter. How do we know that, again, it will take that long to find the killer? This is another indication that they know who killed JonBenet, and they don't want to reveal that person. March 28th of 2000, John and Patsy interviewed by Larry King on Larry King Live, CNN. They were promoting, again, Death of Innocence. Larry King says, Patsy, what do you make of the note? In Larry King fashion. Why would a kidnapper write a ransom note when they've killed someone and left that someone in the house? What would be the point of the ransom note, do you think? Sometimes I think people ask things to toy with people. That's what I think. And I think Larry is toying with people here. What would be the point of that, Patsy? What do you think would be the point of that? Because it don't make no sense already. Larry King makes a very good point. Why would the kidnapper write a ransom note when JonBenet was already dead? If you believe this was a kidnapping that went bad, then the answer would be that the kidnapper first wrote the note, and then the process of removing the body, she died. Let's see how Patsy Ramsey answered it. She says, I don't know. I hope to ask the killer one of these days. What can you guess? I think it was a ruse to just throw us off. I don't know, but I hope to ask the killer one of these days. I don't know, but I hope to ask the killer one of these days. They talk so certain, like they're going to catch the killer at some point. One of these days, we'll ask him. I'll be running and chasing after this killer to the day I die. First, Patsy said, I don't know. I thought she believed this was a kidnapping that went bad. When Larry pressed her for an answer, he then said, I think it was a ruse to throw us off. Patsy supported my theory and the theory of other experts that this was not a kidnapping. JonBenet was killed and the ransom note was written as a ruse to make it look like it was botched. Realizing what his wife just said, he stepped in. From what? I mean, unless he's in the house. I think it was a ruse to throw us off. From what? Unless he's in the house. Well, we did two things, and John comes in and says, well, we did two things in the book. And then Larry says, by the way, Death of Innocence is out. I should have mentioned this from the beginning. The book is now on sale. I'm sorry, John. We have spent a considerable amount of time describing as best we could what we think happened, and we think the killer wrote the note before we came home that night. We think he was in the house while we were out 45 hours. The note was written before the crime. He intended then to kidnap you. We think it was a kidnapping gone awry, and something went terribly wrong. That's what seasoned investigators have told us. Well, that's what John consistently does. John consistently appeals to authority, so this makes sense. But Larry is trying to press them and say, okay, are you talking about he was trying to kidnap y'all? Or who was he trying to kidnap? So he wrote it before y'all got home. Was he trying to kidnap y'all or what? What's going on? John Ramsey now contradicts Patsy's statement. He said the note was written before the crime. We think it was a kidnapping. Patsy said she thought it was written as a ruse, maybe after the crime. Although John Ramsey used the pronoun we, apparently Patsy does not believe that this was a kidnapping. We saw Patsy's uncertainness in their first interview, January 1 of 97, with Brian Cabell. He says, are you fully convinced that your daughter was kidnapped by some outsiders outside your family circle or friends? The camera then focused on Patsy. Her emotions began to well up as she searched for an answer to his question. As she was thinking about what to say, she consistently shook her head no. Her body language was saying that she was not fully convinced that JonBenet was kidnapped by some outsider. Once again, John Ramsey stepped in and said yes. This is the thing. When Patsy goes to say stuff, she consistently does that. When you ask her a question that's important, she starts doing this and then answers the opposite. Ask her another question. Is that, do you think this is the case? And she'll be like, no. And it's like she's about to say yes, but or no, and she snaps out of it. That's my problem. But anyways, that's the video. We're going to move on to John Mark Carr next. That's the video. But until next time, take it easy.